Okay, so when we come to the step, now the precursors, as we've said, the things you do before you get to the design is deciding the what, the where, the who, and the why, right? What I'm going to do, for who, why I'm going to do it, and where I'm going to do it, right? And where means being kind of specific as well, no? So all of these need to be analyzed before you get to the actual design, right? If you've determined that, okay, I've discovered that people need water, they don't have enough water, and there are no other organizations that are going to do water, okay? That's not really enough, is it? Because there's a lot of ways to do water. And then you have to ask yourself questions, right? What was the situation of people before regarding clean, safe water? Yeah, before the crisis or before whatever situation you're responding to is. Did they have clean water before? What did they do, right? Because you don't want to be kind of doing something that makes no sense to them, right? Or isn't, as we said before, a priority for them. Or if you're going to do it, you need to do it in a way that is going to have impact for them, right? Because there's a lot of ways to do wash, as we all know, right? And the decisions about the best way to do wash aren't really technical, though there is a technical component. They're going to be about the situation of the people, right? Things like, okay, what they did before, what are they doing now, right? So before your intervention, what are they doing about water? How are they getting their water? What are the consequences of what they're doing? Is there some health problem being caused by how they're getting water? You have to analyze the consequences, right? Remember, we always come back to cause and effect, okay? Because at the end of the day, if we don't understand that, how can we know what impact we're striving for, okay? If they're getting enough water from somewhere else, even though we don't consider it to be safe water, maybe it's good enough for them, or maybe it's the same type of water they've had for their whole lives. And what's going to happen when the intervention stops. So we have to think of all of those things first, okay? So before I design my WASH program, I have to understand what's happening now, right? And analyze that, okay? Because at the end of the day, it will what I analyze and what conclusions I come to on my analysis, rather than making assumptions. Yeah, it's better to take conclusions on analysis of information and asking the people themselves about what they're doing and why and how that's affecting them, right? Then your design will be better informed, okay? When we talk about like the who, right? So if we've decided that what we're going to do is wash, then we have to decide who, right? If we don't have enough budget to do everybody, yeah, which is rare, then how do we pick and choose who? And what consequences will that choice have on the people who we choose, and especially on the people who we don't choose, right? The people that we omit from our program due to the limited resources we have, or perhaps some other constraint, or another actor that plans to do a similar intervention or whatever. So then I have to look at it as well at the, when we talk about those things, we're talking about the scope, right? The scope of my project, no? When I say WASH, what's the scope? How many things do I want to do and why? For how many people and why? Okay? And how long is it going to last? And we need to think about what's going to happen when it finishes. Okay? Because that's ethical to do so. Thinking about what's going to happen when the program ends versus what the intentions of the people are in terms of time staying in this place if they don't live there is key, right? So even if we're in emergencies, we need to be thinking about that as well, right? It's no excuse in an emergency to not think about when the intervention finishes, because it's an emergency, yeah? In my opinion, it's even more important to think about what happens next in an emergency. It's not a reason to not consider that at all. No, there's sometimes the thinking that, okay, it's an emergency, we just need to intervene, and then, the in-out emergency mentality. But that, you can still think about what happens after when you're doing emergency response design.